Hi, I'm Ahava Tag. Today I am joined by my best friend and fellow Swiftie, Ann Handley, to talk about all things marketing. You've got questions, we've got answers. Let's get to it. Thank you so much for being here, Ann.
Let's go. I unfortunately took a big swig of water just as you were introducing me. So as you were introducing me, I had to mm, mm. Anyway, I think I did it. I think
I
it was
think people are going to have a
wonderful.
lot of fun watching this one. What are you most excited about in marketing right now?
What am I most excited about? Oh my goodness. Let me think. Marketing has changed an awful lot. And one of the things that I love and appreciate about marketing is that it's never the same. It's not like we're accountants, right? It's not like we're CPAs and we get pretty straight advice on, we just need to respond to new rules and regs. We are literally writing the rules and regs and then also responding to them ourselves. It's like we just conjure all of that up for ourselves. So yeah, it's kind of what I love about it, which is really just giving me thinking time to think about what am I most excited about in marketing right now. So I think the thing that I'm most excited about in marketing right now is actually AI, which is shocking to everyone in marketing because
I feel like falling off my chair.
Yeah, no one else is talking about AI. That's the great thing.
I know, it's just a secret between me and you. Maybe it's because both of our names begin with A. It's
Yeah,
Ahava intelligence and intelligence.
the way it is. It's AAI. Yeah, it's no one's talking about it. It's very much under the radar, as you know. So I am excited about it. But I'll tell you specifically why I'm excited about it, because as a writer first and a marketer second, you might think that I'd be terrified of AI. Like, why am I excited about it at all? So to give you a really specific example of why I think it's cool. So I am working on a landing page for a new project. And I wrote some notes about the landing page. I wrote them longhand in a notebook, which is my process. My first stage of any bit of writing is always to write it longhand with a pencil and a notebook. So I did that. I wrote down some just points I wanted to make, and then I fired up a Google Doc and I started writing the landing page. And then I got about midway through and I thought, what might be even better than this is what if I do two versions of a landing page? What if I do a straight landing page that's a little more expected, that when you read it, you think, yeah, it's a landing page, check. But what if I also did a second version of a landing page that was a little bit unhinged, just to appeal to a different kind of audience and also just to give it a little bit more buzz, I guess, because we're in marketing and we're always looking for the angle. So I started doing it and I thought I could use some help here. And so I fired up ChatGPT and I asked ChatGPT to help me out, just give me some insight about what would qualify for a more unhinged version of this. And ChatGPT gave me some stuff, and then I was like, I don't know, that's not quite right. That's not really what I was looking for. I went back and I did some more work on it myself, and then I offered that to ChatGPT. I was like, all right, this is really what I'm thinking about. What do you think about something like this? And ChatGPT was like, oh yes, we're going full feral, aren't we? And I was like, yes, we are. We went back and forth like this for, no joke, probably an hour and a half. It was so much fun. And it was like having a second brain that was creative and absolutely insane and pushed things so far that I would never use half of the stuff that we came up with. But what it did is it pushed me creatively into a place where I couldn't go by myself. And then I was able to sort of figure out what elements of this make sense for me, what elements of this are very much on brand for me, and what elements I don't want to be too wacky,
Right.
I'm still me. But that's an example of just how I use AI, not to write for me, but to help me be more creative and go into places where I just can't go on my own.
So I love that. And I think you were the person who first called it a wingman. I remember you talking about that at the very beginning. Some people call it your intern or your partner.
Yeah. Wing person. I like
wing person. Okay, wing person.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. And I love it in a lot of ways. It also exasperates me a lot of the time. Training it, I couldn't train it how to write like me. It just never really got there.
No, but do you want to? Because you're a good writer. And I think that's everyone's default, right? Is to, do you want to? Because you're a good writer.
I really appreciate that. Thank you. I'm very insecure.
Twice.
I'm very insecure about that fact.
We'll leave it in there twice. Okay. Yeah. And I think that's everybody's default, isn't it? To just, I want something to write like me. I want it to make it easier. Well, I'm the opposite. I don't want it to write like me. I write like me. I don't need it to write like me. I don't need it to create things like me. Instead, I want things like the feral squirrel landing page that we did, because it's something that I would never, it just pushed me into a place where I mean, maybe I could go there on my own.
It didn't push you. You pushed yourself.
Yeah,
It just
yeah,
helped you
exactly.
get there. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
I love that conception of thinking about it like that.
yeah.
Actually, you're the reason that I write more now
Oh,
because I was writing like those intros to my email newsletters and I was kind of phoning it in exactly, but kind of just,
mm,
I don't know. And then you were like, I want to hear more from you. I want to hear your voice. Like, start writing again. And I
yeah.
did. And the reaction has been incredible. So thank you for
Mm,
that because people really, turns out, wanted to hear what
yeah,
I had
yeah,
to say, which
yeah.
was, exciting.
I
And it's
love that.
fun. It's fun to get back to writing. Like, really, what do I want to say and how do I want to craft it? So
Mhm.
I think that it's great that you're excited about it. Here's what makes me a little bit nervous about it, particularly in the space of healthcare marketing, where I spend so much of my time. It seems to me that marketers spend a lot of time looking for the thing that's going to solve the problem instead of going
Mm,
back to the foundationals of
yeah,
marketing.
yeah.
It's interesting that you talked about the accountants because people really haven't changed that much either. Yeah. So their buying opportunities are different. And we have fancy words like interaction costs, that we didn't used to have. But I still feel like when you sit down with a marketer and you say, like, talk to me about the 4 Ps or, tell me about, your documentation around governance and style guides, they're like, yeah. Then they're like, okay, but how can AI solve that?
Yeah.
You have a
Well,
strategy problem, dude,
I
not an
know.
AI problem.
I know. And honestly, like we're all kind of lazy, right? Like I'm lazy. It's like I don't want to work. I don't want to think about strategy or like do some sort of brand voice documentation or whatever that third thing is that you said that I don't even know what it is. So it's like I don't like I think it's so easy to just reach for that tool that will do it for us because like I'm as lazy as the next marketer. Like I don't really want to do it either.
Right.
But I think there's a difference between, just like looking to AI to do it for you, without any sense of the strategy behind the piece that you're putting out there, and using, and working with it as a tool to help
Yeah.
you get to a better place, to become a better writer,
Yeah.
to look through the research that you're trying to understand. Like there's a lot of dense research out there, right? So how do we actually use it, not to read it for us, but to help us understand it? Like that's where I find it very, very useful, and it does it like that, and it never gets bored. Like to your point when you talk about like the fear and the anxiety around it, like I have that too, but I don't know, lately I'm just trying to use it in ways that really work for me and help other marketers, healthcare and otherwise. Just how do we think about this tool? Like how do we use it in a way that benefits us, that serves us, and not in the way that the AI companies are telling you to use it, which is all the shortcuts. I think that we should resist at this point, no matter how lazy we are.
I think that's a really good point. I know for myself, like I've used it for research, for deep research, for healthcare
Yeah.
research. It can be very helpful for summarizing PubMed articles that have to do with what I might be writing about or I'm researching for myself for my own personal life. I think that it can give the illusion of shortcuts, but actually I think what it really can do is just augment how good
Mm-hmm.
your
Yeah.
own thinking can be. Like you said, with the
Yes.
feral, I really want to see this landing page now.
The
I'm so
feral
excited.
squirrel.
The
Here's
feral
the funny
squirrel.
thing. I don't think I'm going to use it, but it really did help me to think about a landing page in a different way, ultimately.
Isn't
Anyway,
that
that's a
great?
whole separate story, but yeah, it didn't matter. Like it was just a thought exercise and a creative exercise more than anything else. I realized in the end.
No, but that's really interesting. And I would encourage everybody listening to this, the next time you're working on something, give it what you've done and then say, how could I make this more creative? How could I
Yeah.
push the edge on this? And
Yeah.
just see what it gives you. It can just,
Yeah.
that's what I love about it. Sometimes it just takes my mind in a completely different direction than I
Yeah.
ever would have thought to go before, even when it's wrong, and
Yeah,
it's giving me
exactly.
something I don't love.
The other thing that I love about it, just like from the aspect of what you're talking about right now, is how it 100% will gaslight you into making you feel like you are the best writer on the planet. Like you didn't even need me to say that you're a good writer. You just need like ChatGPT or Claude. They just will gaslight me, and I know that I'm being gaslit, but like I do a lot of work on my own, and I think there's no harm in just having somebody like high-fiving me, like, yes, that is amazing. Like that landing page, the feral squirrel landing page that we were working on was so fun for me, in part because like I could, this is going to sound so weird, but I could sense that AI was like, the tool itself was like, as we were ratcheting it up and it was getting weirder and weirder, like AI was just like loving it so hard, and it made me love it so hard. Now, of course, AI wasn't loving it so hard. It doesn't feel anything. And it was just feeding me back what I wanted. But I don't know, it was still a really fun way to work. And as writers, as communicators, as marketers, we tend to do a lot of solo work.
Yep.
Um, And so I think just having, a sounding board there, a wing person, somebody who is just telling you like, you're killing it, you're doing great. Like we need more of that.
I think I need to program my GPT to say that to me,
Oh
because
my
right
God.
now it's kind of like, all right, let's make this better, Ahava.
All right, sit down. We got some work to do. I don't know if you saw this, but I think it was Sam Altman recently said that they were dialing back that aspect of ChatGPT.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like not making it so
Agreeable?
obsequious. Yeah, and I
Mm.
was like, why? What is the harm, Sam? So I don't know.
Because I don't, because somebody like me is cynical and I don't trust it. It's like, oh, that's a really great
Um,
idea. And I'm like, oh, it must be a terrible idea, because the machine thinks
mm,
it's a good idea.
yeah.
So that's really interesting. I think, I don't know what Sam Altman thinks, because I just don't think on the same level as Sam Altman, but I do think people have a concern about the fact that it's trained to incorporate your own biases into it. And so they're
Sure.
worried that, like, oh, if it likes me and it thinks I'm great, it's not really giving me, accurate information or feedback that I need. So
Yeah, right. Well, that's what I mean about, I am not interested in training any sort of AI tool to think
right, like you.
and
Yeah.
yeah, and write like me. Like I don't want that at all. And I think that's part of my reasoning too, is because I don't want that bias, I mean, and obviously like sometimes I can say to it, like, don't like give it to me straight. Like I don't need you to gaslight me. But sometimes I just think it's kind of a fun approach.
I also think that maybe like there should be different versions of it. Like I want the cheerleader version on it. I don't want the cheerleader, right? Like maybe it'll get to that point.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a feeling your answer is going to be the same, but let's see. What do you find most challenging right now
Yeah.
about marketing?
Yeah, exactly the same. I mean, most challenging for me is 100% AI. And if you don't think that AI is challenging as a healthcare marketer or as a marketer, just just take a wander through LinkedIn. Just like I go to LinkedIn sometimes and everyone there is like they're selling prompts and they have 32 like page carousels about you're not using AI correctly. And here's some unexpected uses of AI. And I was like, dude, like it is just, I'm tired. It is just so fatiguing to encounter that every single day. Um,
I
and
want there to be a LinkedIn bingo of like, this is what you're going to see when you're on LinkedIn. Like I made $3 million from AI for my agency in the last month. My AI put my agency out of business. Here's why AI is going to destroy humanity. Like there's 3 posts on LinkedIn and
yes,
that's what they're all
yes,
about.
exactly. And it's exhausting. And, to quote Taylor, and I can't do it anymore, so I have real fears about, sort of what does that mean for not just the future of marketing, but the future of our kids who are not being encouraged to write and create in the way that we learn to write and create. And why do I think that matters? It's because I think the more that we offload our thinking, the more that we offload everything cognitively. It's like what happens to us as people. There was that study that came out of MIT last week, earlier this week.
Yeah, you wrote about it in your newsletter.
Yeah, which basically showed that there are some like real concerns with how students, and in their case it was students, are using AI tools to write. And essentially the bottom line is that those who were encouraged AI tools to write in this experiment literally couldn't remember anything from what they had just written. They were encouraged to use AI to write an essay for their class, and like they remembered or they forgot something like 86% of it, where the non-AI crew remembered far more of it, obviously. And it's kind of obvious. The study was flawed. It wasn't perfect, but I do think that it's igniting this conversation around, when do we use AI and when do we not, and what happens to our brain? Because I think it does come at a cognitive loss. So
I agree. I remember in 10th grade, I wrote a paper about the Vietnam War. It was for history class. And I ended up writing about college students protesting the Vietnam War. It was a 10-page paper. I got an A. The history teacher accused me of plagiarizing it, which didn't make me feel very good.
Wow.
But I knew that I had written it myself. I still remember the joy of writing that paper, of researching that paper. And like, I don't think as a 10th grader, I would have said to you, this is what joy is.
Yeah.
But looking back on it now, I really do remember it was like this giant puzzle. Everybody here knows I love to do jigsaw puzzles. It was just this giant puzzle, and I got to put it together, and then I got to put prose around it. And
yeah,
there's so much joy that I get. Writing is frustrating and challenging. And I agree with you. Like, why not just throw it into the chat GPT and let it figure out how to write it? It's just using fancy math to predict the most likely word that comes next. But for me, I worry about people who don't get to experience the joy of thinking something through and building an argument and building a thesis and
Yes,
learning
right.
how to protect and uphold and frame that thesis. And I always think about how they took penmanship out of school and they
Mhm.
found that it hurt kids cognitively.
Yeah.
And here they are, like they're doing the exact same thing. And it's like, when are we going to learn that, like, maybe the old way of doing things, we're not doing it because it's the old way. We're doing it because it works for our brains.
Yes,
Learning to
exactly.
write
Yeah.
actually does something to a developing brain. That's very
Yes.
important. So
Yes,
I agree with
exactly.
you. It does. It
Yeah.
worries me a lot.
Yeah, I know for sure. And it's funny too, because, I don't know how much you've looked at this or know about it, but there's this whole movement now to bring penmanship and handwriting cursive back into schools in the US, which is, so funny to me because at the same time we're trying to figure out what we do with AI over here. Over here, we're like, just give everybody a pencil and help them write cursive. It's like, what is one, like, get those two camps to talk to one another, because I think it's so critical right now. I was just watching
My 16-year-old can't read cursive.
cursive. Yeah, I
When I
know.
write in script, he's like, I don't, what is this?
When you're talking about writing that essay or that paper on the Vietnam War, I think that there is such value in the struggle. I think it's true in writing. It's true in creativity. It's true in life. But you learn something from it, and I think it becomes embedded within you in a very different way. And we're not talking about that with AI. Instead, it's all about how fast can we make this? Can we create a blog post or a paper or a paper on the Vietnam War or anything? And it's just so disappointing to me that that's sort of the talk track. Now, when you back away from LinkedIn, and when you back away from what the marketers of AI companies are saying, when you step away from that messaging, I think most people that I talk to are just much more balanced in how they think about it. But my fear is that there is this real momentum toward, like, well, just use it. You should be making it faster. Like, why are you struggling with this? Well, because the struggle matters. So that's what I've been talking about lately. And that's also sort of what scares me at the same time that I appreciate AI's ability to help me think.
So you have been talking about slowing down more
Yeah.
lately. Talk to me more about what you're excited about coming up for yourself and your own projects that you're working on. Because I've had the privilege of hearing you put this together over a very long period of time. And I'd love for you to talk to our audience about it.
Yeah. So just to clarify, when Ahava says, like, you've been talking about slowing down, she doesn't mean for me personally. It's not like I'm buying a condo in Boca and I'm going to, like, just, like, sit on the beach with a virgin Mai Tai. Although,
That just shows where your thinking is going, because when I say slowing down, I'm thinking of it in the construct of your messaging, not like a person slowing down.
my messaging. And so your audience probably doesn't know my messaging and probably doesn't know what I've been working on. So yeah, I've been working on a new project, a new book that will be out in 2026 called ASAP, As Slow as Possible. And it's all about how the moments in life when you struggle, those slower moments that are part of our daily lives, are the moments where we need to, like, lean into a little bit more intentionally. Because again, like, the world is not going to slow down for you. The world is only encouraging you to go faster and faster, to optimize everything. There's sort of an optimization epidemic in basically every area of our life. So that's what I've been working on. It's related to marketing, but it's not 100% a marketing book. It's bigger than that, and it's terrifying because it's a big swing for me. It's outside of my comfort zone. I'm pretty well known in content and in marketing, but in the world beyond that, it's going to be like, what? So it's a big swing. It's scary. It's terrifying, but I am so excited about it. And I just submitted the first draft of the manuscript to my editor just a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, I don't know. I'm waiting for feedback right now.
Well, I read the draft.
Yes.
And I have to say that I've heard you talk about it for 6 years now, a long time. You've been
10
talking
years,
about it.
actually.
10 years.
I first talked about it on stage at Content Marketing World, again, through a content marketing lens in 2016. So 9 years. It'll be 10 by the time the book comes out.
Yeah. So I just want to say, it really, even hearing you talk about all the ideas and thrash them out and brainstorm through them, reading it was so powerful to me. It really made me think about my own way of thinking. And I'm writing reviews now, mid-year reviews. Who likes writing reviews? And whoever you are, please, like, let me know so you can teach me. Anyway, so I'm writing reviews, and I asked all of the people that report to me, I said, tell me what I need to stop doing and start doing.
Hmm.
And two people wrote back to me basically, your superpower is your speed. And it's also like your biggest detriment. And it's really true. I race through things.
Yeah.
And it occurred to me, I was thinking about your book and this particular chart that you have and this matrix. And I thought to myself, Ahava, just because you can think quickly doesn't mean you have to act quickly.
Yeah.
And it really resonated with me. So I think it's a really powerful book, just about thinking about life in general and what the goal is and how to
Yeah.
think about goals differently. That's also part of it.
Yeah,
So
yeah, exactly, exactly. And I think, there's a lot of work already, there's a lot of books that talk about the idea that, taking like a Carl Honore's like slow movement, I think is like what people think of. But when I talk about slowing down, I'm talking about, I just said like how I use AI, like I'm in marketing, I like fast, I like speed, like you. But at the same time, like what I hear you saying, and I think what I'm trying to convey in this new project of mine, this new book, is that, it's not about slowing down all the time. It's not about like cooking more slowly and eating more slowly and, just starting to walk everywhere instead of taking the high speed bullet train. Like, it's not about that. Instead, it's about choosing those moments in life that matter most to you based on who you want to become, and then slowing down at those moments. And I offer you a sort of way to do that, a way to think through, how do we actually do this in a way that's going to benefit us long term?
no, I actually think it's really, it's not about cooking slowly or any of those things. And it's not maybe what this, like, slowing down isn't the right way to describe it. It's more about what are the signals that tell you, okay, now might be a good time to stop and just think this through a little bit more carefully. So I had this on Friday. Somebody sent me an email and I got very worked up over it very fast. Like my blood pressure went from like 0 to whatever. Well, obviously my blood pressure's not at 0, but it went really far, very fast. So, and I wanted to like jump on the Zoom and like talk it through with this person and be like, da, 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 da. And something in me said, would that be the most productive thing to do right now? Would that really get you to your long-term goal? Is that really what you're striving for? And I think one of the things that your book did for me is it actually said, like, here are places where you should be speeding up, and here are places where you might want to slow it down. And I think that that's what's so important in today's day and age, is that sometimes people are going to be pushing us from behind and saying, I need it, I need it, I need it. And sometimes you have to be able to prove that we don't need it right now. We have the time to think this through. One of the, you and I have talked about this, one of the values at Aha Media Group is stay curious longer.
Yes, I love that.
And the reason is me. I don't stay curious enough for longer. Like, I'm like, okay, I made my decision, it's done. And they're like, there's 3 other things we have to tell you that you need to know to make this decision.
Yes.
So it's very powerful. And I'm so excited for the world to see it, because it really does. It does answer, I think, I mean, maybe I'm making it sound like, I don't want to be like out there and lofty and crazy, but it really does help to me solve a fundamental question of deciding not only what the right thing is to do, but when the right thing is to do. And that's, I think 50% of life is in the timing.
Yeah, no, it's so true. Yeah. You know that joke, ask me what the secret of life is. Like,
ask me what the
timing. See?
Well, we could not have played that any more better if we had practiced.
Well, first of all, also thank you for all like your kind words about this book. As you know, as I said, it's a big swing for me. There are very few people who have read it. You are one. There is one other person, and then my editor. Like, that's it. So people have read pieces of it. But yeah, so it's nice to hear that. And honestly, like, you're gassing me up more than ChatGPT did the other day with the
I have cheerleader mode on.
Yeah, I love it. I love this version of
the one thing, Ann and I, it's so funny. You have to have a high threshold for the truth to be my friend. And that's the one thing we always promise each other is the truth. And I wouldn't say this if I didn't love it. I'd just be like, here's where you could do more work. So
no,
it really, but I think
exactly.
it's very powerful to read a book in draft form and to have it affect you. Like, to me, that was the sign that like, you had a powerful idea, and it got me, somebody who really needs to slow down. But it's not just to slow down, it's become more intentional about when to act, not just the how to act. And
yeah, I know. It's like, it's so funny that you say that, because part of me is like, I love the wordplay of ASAP, meaning as slow as possible. But at the same time, it doesn't really like 100% convey the value, because it does suggest that, we're going to turn into like sloths and slugs. I think it's memorable. And so we're going with it. But at the same time, I've been struggling with tagline a little bit, that's still very much a work in progress to try to convey that the nuance of that, because it isn't just, as you say, slow for slow's sake. It's about an intentional slow that will put you where you want to be and who you want to become. That's really what the book is about.
So that's the tagline. Put
yeah.
you where you want to be, who you want to become. Nobody knew what the tipping point was either.
Yeah.
Nobody knew what Blink was, right?
Yeah.
There's titles that come out in the world. The Purple Cow. Nobody knew what that was,
Yeah.
And then they work well because when you get a sense of what it's about, it changes things. Let Them, for example, this has become like the new hot thing, right? Let Them.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So I like the title. I think it works really well.
We were talking about how long this book took to develop. And there's a certain irony in that, like a book that is called ASAP, as slow as possible, literally took me like 9 years, 10 years by the time it comes out. But the thing is, it's like, it's in a funny way, it's like its own case study, because where I started and where I ended up are two different things. It's like I started talking about this concept straight up through a content marketing lens in a very, very narrow, specific way. Now, I could have just like put a check on it and been like, okay, well, that was a fun idea, but I couldn't let it go. And like, in a way, this whole concept, the whole book itself is like, it's a very meta, experience, because on the one hand, it's like, well, it did take me that long, but it's not because I wrote at a snail's pace. It's because I iterated and evolved the messaging over time. I straight up put it away for a while, and I went and worked on Everybody Writes Too, the second edition. And so there's like lots of other stuff going on, but it's like it was growing inside my head, I think, for that long. And I kept collecting like, nuts that I would find, and I would like hoard them away. And so I sort of think it's kind of a metaphor for the story that I'm trying to tell, with the fact that it did take so long,
I think you talk about this in the book about like wine and cheese, right? Like, did you talk about that, or did I come up with that on my own from reading?
I think you just came up with it on your own, but
okay. So I was just watching The Bear. Sophia and I are watching The Bear.
Oh yeah, I haven't yet.
And there's the sommelier says she's teaching somebody. She says, I always think that like a bottle of wine is like grabbing a moment in time. Like when you open that bottle, it's like what was happening in the ground, in the air, in the sky at that moment.
Oh, that's lovely. Yeah.
You can grab a moment, but it takes time for that bottle to ferment to a place where you're really going to be able to grab it. And I think it's like the same type of thing. Some really good things take time to develop. And I think everybody can find you, but if they did want to find you, and you, by the way, I just want to tell my audience, you must read Ann's newsletter. It comes out every other Sunday. I usually read it on Sunday. I happen to have been at a wedding this Sunday, so I read it Monday morning, and I actually have a shout out in it. It was so great. So where can they subscribe to that newsletter?
Oh my gosh. So yes, thank you so much. AnnHandley.com/newsletter. I'm in the midst of relaunching my website. So that photo you see on there is Ann Handley of like 7 or 8 years ago. So just pretend that it's an updated version. You can connect with me on LinkedIn, search for Ann Handley, or I don't know, I'm on Instagram, Ann Handley. That's about it. I pulled back on social like a lot of people. So my two channels tend to be Instagram and LinkedIn.
Thank you so much for joining me, Ann. It was a pleasure to have you. And thanks to our viewers for joining in. I hope you got the answer you needed today. If you have a burning question, put it in the comments or email me at ahava.leaptag@ahamediagroup.com. See you next time.